You are listening to the Bills Blitzkrieg Podcast, brought to you by the Bills Blitzkrieg Network.
Well. What you guys been up to? It's been a few weeks. Took a little bit of hiatus. And I think it was the cum pasta that really did us in. Yeah, I gotta open up. We gotta confess. We got into quite some trouble with YouTube. The ethics board called us out. There was a lot of vitriol, a lot of complaints, a lot of anger about our cum pasta discussion. Apparently,
did it really?
Yeah,
that didn't happen.
It's a straw too far, they said. You can't talk about cum on YouTube. It goes against the community guidelines. You can talk about anything else you want. Yeah. Genocide and
Did you put that in the name of the title? Did you?
Oh yeah, I just plastered cum pasta everywhere. You can't talk about cum pasta. You can talk about cum, you can talk about pasta, but you put them together, it's just way too much. Way too much.
Our already demonetized, unmonetized show is gonna be damn.
Well, yeah, all of that is made up. None of that is true at all. It's but it could have been. It could have been if people were listening. We had about 15 listeners.
The cum pasta's real. Don't get confused.
All right. Because you got to like and subscribe to our channel, and then you can go and complain to us about cum pasta. So,
all right, reel it in. All right, my ears.
We're 2 minutes in. For Christ's sake.
Did we break the record for cum pasta discussion about 2 minutes? So yeah, like and subscribe so you can cancel us. We can't get canceled if you guys aren't listening and subscribing. So like and subscribe, and you can complain all you want.
Then cancel us.
That aside, what you guys been up to? What you guys been talking, yucking about?
Sweating, dude. It's hot out.
Real hot.
Real hot.
Yeah, the Northeast is getting hit with a scorcher. I think it was like 95 degrees. I was out playing disc golf for a couple hours. I thought I was going to die. Drinking beer and chucking disc was probably a bad idea. But we did it anyways.
That'll make a guy need a nap.
Yeah.
Yeah, right after this, I'm going to snooze it.
There you go.
Snooze it. But speaking of beers, time to crack a couple cold ones. I'm sipping on... So we've gotten to the end of our beer draft. We have them all graded. We have it all rounded up. And I have
undefeated champion.
Oh, hold on, no, don't spoil the surprise. Everyone's on the edge of their seats. I have one from our beer draft. It's been sitting in the fridge for a minute, but not because it's not good. It's a Electric Chihuahua, sour ale brewed with lime, agave, and Mexican salt.
Ooh, sounds great.
It tastes like a margarita spritzer kind of. It's really nice and light, a little tart, good amount of tartness and tasty and refreshing on this 90-degree day. You guys sipping on anything memorable, anything notable?
I don't have anything notable. I think I've had it on here before, the Firestone Mind Haze IPA. It was available at the grocery store, which was pretty wiped out last night when I went at around 9 o'clock, and it spoke to me. It says beer before glory. I don't know if that's like a Firestone Walker thing or just some sort of hardo phrase for this beer. I don't know what it has to do with Mind Haze, but it's not bad. Firestone does some pretty good stuff, but what about you?
Yeah, they were cleaned out this morning. I went in before 8. I was trying to get money from the cash desk and browse the old beer, waiting for the old 8 o'clock to run around.
There you go.
Nothing. But my go-to polar seltzer with or without any sort of clear liquids in it would pretty good.
Have you had the ginger lime flavor yet? Because I was pleasantly surprised.
Ginger lime, no, that sounds really good.
It's basically their take on like a NA, Moscow Mule, if you want to call it that. It's more lime than ginger, and I'm not usually a huge fan of the lime seltzers, but it's got like a hint of ginger. But I'm sure if you added a spritz of vodka or maybe even some gin too, it wouldn't be too bad.
Yeah, we've been doing the ice margaritas in the blender.
Nice.
You gotta stay cool on these hot days.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure. And then speaking of, so as Rick so rudely spoiled, he did win the spring 2021 edition of the beer draft that we did. If you guys want to go back.
I don't think anyone doubted it from the start that was going to be the outcome, including me.
Well, I would have beat you. See, this is the whole wrinkle in it. As I was steady,
here we go. Here's the excuses roll in.
1 through 4, I had 4 pluses. 4 pluses rating from Untapped. This is how we graded it, by the way. We graded it by what they were rated on Untapped. We picked all seasonal, relatively new beers to try to make it fair and balanced throughout, so someone didn't have a juggernaut right out. But it was all relatively new ones. I had 4s all the way down, then I started hitting a snag. 5th through 9, and then my buried acorn. Aren't you glad I didn't say coriander? just gave me dropped the goose egg. Nobody went on Untapped and rated it. So
Because coriander is disgusting, dude. I told you. No one wants that.
I know nobody wants it, but I mean, I thought it was like a nice hipster, infusion for a flyer, late rounds. That would be my ringer, but no, it was it's like drafting Devin Singletary in your fantasy football draft. He lays goose eggs for you, but
Bummer.
yeah, Fred won with a ready. Dad Quest 69s is the name of the team I gave him. Just nice, readily reliable, solid beers, 3.7 and up in every rating, and he beat us with a total score of 34.83. So, ding, 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 ding! Congratulations.
What? Wait a second. What did you call my team?
The Dad Quest.
I saw
69s.
that the other day when I was looking. Dad Quest 69s. Fun fact: once you become a dad, the 69s they don't happen anymore.
Man. One less thing to look forward to, I guess.
Dang.
Don't get married, everybody. I'll never 69 again.
Nope.
And Zach came in second, the Ready and Reliables, with a total.
Oh, it came in second.
Yeah, 34.1.
Yeah, there you go.
Beautiful.
I mean, what are the odds of that? To be honest with
And
you,
I rounded up dead last, 32.14.
crunch
I
those
did
numbers.
awful. The neckbeards dream of these. I underestimated, the current untapped market. But
you gotta know your demographic.
We'll have to get you a consolation prize, Jake. Maybe a Deucer or Pabst or something. Boiled
A
hot
natty
dog.
daddy.
oh yeah,
A natty daddy I left in my car. That'd be cool.
I'll take it. I've had many a
Roll
sad
around
afternoon
under
with
the
a Jenny
seats.
Deucer and a boiled hot dog. So bring it on.
Here's a Pall Mall and a natty daddy that's been rolling around under my seat.
Now that's a great afternoon. I mean, Jesus. Can we split that, Jake?
Yeah, let's do it.
Halfsies.
Cut it all right in half. We'll share a shotgun to Jenny.
Nice. That sounds gross, but okay.
Moving on, right? So it's like we said, it's hot out. I think it's officially summertime. Maybe not by calendar, but by weather, right?
Oh, it's summertime.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So that means
Summertime of living.
it's grilling time is what that means to me. So every day we got to get out there. You got to fire up the grill, whether you're doing charcoal, gas, smoker, pit. I love any slow cooked, fast cooked, any meat just over an open fire. It really taps into that savage, primal beast of a man that we all are. So we want to talk a little bit about...
Especially me. Yeah, especially me, the first annual beer draft champion. So, yeah, continue.
So we want to talk about, there's a difference. There's a very technical difference between grilling, barbecuing, and smoking. I don't know if you want me to pass this off to you, Jackson. You seem to be the expert in the field of the culinary arts among us. I did a little bit of preliminary research before, but...
I would like to say so, but not really when it comes to grilling, barbecue, and smoking, because I really don't do much of the three. I enjoy all of it, but it's just not something I do a ton. I'm kind of confined to the kitchen area these days. So yeah, you go right ahead with whatever you had planned.
Yeah, well, I don't want to pretend to be an authority on this. I read a couple articles online because I didn't really know the difference.
So you are an authority.
Yeah, I am an authority. That's right.
Essentially.
YouTube. I have the YouTube stamp of approval on this one.
Do you sprinkle in your religious beliefs into this review?
Of course.
Is this...
With a very
Okay.
passionate assertion of truth.
Did you go to the truth about grilling, barbecuing, and smoking.org?
That's exactly what I did.
Yes.
That's exactly what I did.
So you're an authority.
Well, see, I always would say I'm barbecuing, but I guess that's wrong because I have never actually barbecued anything because I don't have the right setup. You got to have the pit.
Right.
You got to have the pit.
You're grilling for all intents and purposes, right?
Right. Yeah, because I got the propane rig up. On the
What
pit,
is the difference? What is the difference?
It's style and time, and I think some people would even consider the type of seasonings you put into it. You're going to have ideal seasonings for barbecuing over just a standard grilling. So you go for more of a dry rub on a barbecue, slow cooked on a pit with wood or charcoal.
I think the difference is the type of accelerant. Well, not accelerant, but the type of fuel you're using. Barbecue is primarily either charcoal, whether that be your store-bought brands, or you do the wood, the wood charcoal, the charcoal briquettes or whatever. I think that is kind of where the line is drawn between grilling and smoking, grilling and barbecuing. You can grill a burger on a propane grill, or you can grill it.
Is this some King of the Hill shit?
It's gonna be. We're getting there.
Oh no, they're not barbecuing. They're grilling. They use propane.
That's correct.
All right. Okay. all right.
Which I think is part of that shtick because Texans, as a rule, grilling over propane is very much frowned upon. They're kind of like the kings of the open pit barbecue with using just straight wood fire or wood coals and shoveling into the pits. But yeah, so with my understanding, I think it's the difference between whether you're using propane and charcoal.
Yeah, I mean, what I read, it's basically low and slow for barbecue. Where grilling, you're going to go at higher temperatures and cook it more quickly. For things like steaks, burgers, hot dogs.
Yep.
Maybe if you're doing like
Chicken,
a brisket, you got to do over the barbecue or the smoker. Which I don't know really. I couldn't really decipher a technical difference between smoking and barbecue rather than just the pure size of it.
Heat. You can smoke without heat.
And temperature, yeah.
So like when we have barbecue, put more on direct convection heat right underneath the wood or the coals, however you're doing it. Would that be
right?
Okay.
Yeah. Like barbecuing, you can whip up a burger in 15 minutes on a regular barbecue grill. But smoking is really, it's still technically barbecue, but you have to have that time for the smoke to kind of infiltrate the meat. You're not going to smoke a cheeseburger. That would probably be disgusting. I'm sure people tried to do it. I would never do it.
What about a Gouda cheeseburger?
Yeah.
Come on, don't be closed-minded.
Well, people barbecue steaks. I see people with real thick cut, ribeyes even, or maybe something with like a chuck, and you slow cook it on the grill, and then you slow cook it over the barbecue.
Right.
I've seen some
but
really
you are incorporating a little bit of smoke flavor into that, but you don't want it to dominate it. Like you'd have a big pork butt or a brisket. Those can take, being over smoke for 8, 10, 12, even probably 24 hours just because they're massive fatty cuts of meat. Whereas something like a steak, you don't really want to impart a ton of smoke flavor into those. So those aren't your like low and slow, really time-consuming processes of cooking meat.
Yeah, I mean, but 'tis the season to experiment. I'm going to be doing a bunch of experimenting out on the back patio. Got my propane grill. I'm already pretty well acclimated to, but I just got this smoker. So if anybody's got some suggestions, advice, I'm just getting used to it. I had to first get used to just using charcoal and keep feeding that charcoal. And the first time I did it, I had no idea how much charcoal to use. It was sitting at like 100 degrees for 4 hours, and it completely messed up this beautiful pork butt I bought. Very disappointing. But, first time, starting to get used to it a little bit. Just got to keep feeding those charcoals in there, keep that temperature up and going, and trying not to
There is a learning
overheat it.
There is a learning curve to it, for sure. Any guy off the street can fire up a grill, propane grill, cook a steak, whatever. But the charcoal, it does take, there's a little bit of learning curve to it. As far as how hot to get your grill, how much charcoal you want to use for how much time you plan on grilling any sort of piece of meat for. So, yeah, it takes a little bit.
And then, speaking of barbecue, I, here at Buffalo, Bill's Blitzkrieg, we,
Buffalo Wild Wings, here at Buffalo.
Here at Buffalo. So, yeah. I could go for some smoked wings right now that we're thinking. I'm getting pretty hungry.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But here at Bill's Blitzkrieg, we asked the most pertinent and pressing questions to the Bills Mafia community. And just a few days ago, I asked a really poignant and really, really pressing question. And it's, what 3 Bills players are you inviting to a Kegger or dinner party? You only get to pick 3. And we got some really interesting answers. Doing our little Twitter shout out here. Probably the best answer, the most thorough answer, was from at Bills Mafia Babes. If you guys aren't familiar with the Bills Mafia Babes, they're a group of women that are big supporters of the Buffalo Bills, and they support women in the sport, and they're all together great follow, and they're always fun to talk to and very responsive. But I think they definitely hit it on the head, whoever's there running the page. The O-line has to be at the Kegger, of course, right? You got to have the O-line at the Kegger. So Dawkins is a must. Maybe Spencer Brown, he looks like a good time. Josh crushes beers too, so he is in. Dinner party, we're looking for a laugh, so Trey White, Isaiah McKenzie, and Gabe Davis would be a good time, they said. Which, no arguments there. Any Kegger with any of the O-line. We have a lot of characters on the O-line, especially Feliciano and Dawkins. I think they'd be a lot of fun, sitting around a keg, playing long games, shenanigans, and all sorts of things like that.
So we're doing this season or all time, by the way?
I was going to say, can we do former Bills players?
Oh, I didn't even think. Everybody said current. What did I ask? I think it was current. I think I asked for what 3 current Bills players you would you would invite.
Okay. I was going to say, if we were doing former Kyle Orton, just, sit back, chug some whiskey, just black out with the fella, and not even make it to dinner.
That sounds like an afternoon to regret by the time it's over with, though. I mean, Kyle Orton is probably the most notorious partier. Besides maybe those 90s Bills. Those 90s Bills, people that have been around a while have some stories about Jim Kelly's basement, but we don't need to hash that up. Kyle Orton would be he seems like the kind of guy that gets blasted like 30 minutes in and just is a total riot.
Yeah. He's already pissed himself an hour in. He's just sitting over there on a lawn chair getting sunburnt.
From I Am the Niz, I threw a little wrench at him because he threw in Isaiah McKenzie for the Cookout, right? I was like, no, you got to save him. Or he said Isaiah McKenzie for the Kegger. I was like, no, you got to save him for the Cookout. He's got the La Trela barbecue down in Texas. So it's like, yeah, you saving him, you're going to make him work the pit down at our good old Cookout. And he said, I Am the Niz said, wait a damn second, that wasn't part of the deal. So the Cookout, he adjusted Cookout, Trey, Diggs, McKenzie. I feel like those three would be clowning around the entire Cookout, which...
That'd be fun.
Oh, yeah. Just have Isaiah McKenzie just running game on the pit, and Trey White would just be fucking with him, throwing things at him, I don't know. Dumping beer on his head and all together shenanigans would be fun. But, around the league, we've started getting the uptick in sporting news this past
Why can't I choose my barbecue pad?
Oh, you're stopping me?
What the heck is this?
Go get it, Uninformed Fred.
What the heck?
Do you even know who's on the team, Uninformed Fred? I was going to give you the reprieve.
Dude, I make the most informed guesses when it comes to food, and I would choose Isaiah McKenzie, Cole Beasley, and probably Stephon Diggs, because they're some of the smallest guys on the team, and I want more food for myself. So I feel...
There you go.
There you go.
Going with the purely selfish route. I like that.
Yeah, because if you had those O-line guys in there, you'd have pull off a styrofoam plate. There'd be like a little bit of pasta salad left after those guys got done.
Thanks, pal.
Yeah, even the Kegger, I feel like the offensive line could put down 10, 12, 14, 15 beers each at a Kegger too, without even really thinking twice.
Finally get up there, it's just straight foam in the cup after those guys. They just demolish the food and the bevs.
I like the strategy, Fred. That's smart.
I'm all about strategy. You know what else strategy really helped me with was winning the first annual beer draft.
Oh man!
I don't know if you know that.
Shots fired.
The humble brags from Uninformed Fred. Here it goes.
I'll keep them coming.
All right, around the league though. Around the league, so the Deshaun Watson lawsuits are still pending in the civil courts. I think it's in the Texas jurisdiction somewhere down there in Houston. Last report I read, which was a few weeks ago, was that they could drag out until November, which is particularly interesting, not solely for the cases and allegations against him, is what the Texans are going to do for the quarterback position, because even before these lawsuits, he was demanding a trade out of Texas, out of the Houston Texans. So his value has plummeted, clearly, because we don't know what's going on with this lawsuit. There's also criminal investigation going into it, so he could be facing some criminal charges from the state of Texas, maybe even some federal charges, depending on, because there's some jurisdictional issues going between state lines from when he hired these masseuses. So it looks like the Texans' strategy is to just sign all of the running backs on the waiver wire that's available. They currently have 7 of them. 4 of them former Pro Bowlers, and I think 2 of them are over 30 years old. We have David Johnson, Mark Ingram, Philip Lindsay, and then the former Patriot Rex Burkhead. So I think they're kind of tipping their hand as this is tankier for the Texans, clearly. They're probably not expecting Deshaun Watson to show up to the offseason training activities. If they're even going to let him play, if they're going to do a preemptive ban on him playing for a team if he sticks around and doesn't hold out. There's going to be a lot of drama going in the Houston Texans training facility this offseason. It's going to be a train wreck to follow, but it's going to be particularly interesting. It's going to be a lot of fodder and discussion for ESPN and Twitter and all the pundits out there. But what I imagine, I think they're going to have to keep him in Houston. They're not going to get any value, especially not the value they want out of one of the premier quarterbacks right now. Who wants to trade for him if they don't know if he's going to play this season? I don't know what the NFL is going to do for the disciplinary proceedings. They're going to wait until the civil case is completed, until the criminal investigation is completed, or they're going to preemptively give him a 6-game ban, as they often do for domestic and sexual abuse allegations. But yeah, I guess
just allegations. You don't even have to be proved guilty. Or has there ever been a situation where someone wasn't guilty that was accused?
The NFL disciplinary board, I think they call it the disciplinary board. They do a hearing. They do their own hearing, and you only require a preponderance of the evidence. So it just has to be more likely true than false for them to levy a suspension or a fine for the player. So I don't know. Sometimes they'll do it before anything happens in the course. They do it quite often. I think Ray Rice, that happened to him. So I don't know. Sometimes they like to wait and see what plays out so they have the full information, which I would argue is the best scenario. But when there's a lot of public pressure, which we'll definitely be seeing if he's playing and practicing, they'll probably go ahead and try to get him off the field to save face, which I would say is probably the NFL strategy there. In somewhat related news, Julio Jones, which a lot of people were pulling to go to the Bills, was just traded today for a second and fourth round pick to the Tennessee Titans. So that's a dangerous offense with him there. That's a little scary for an AFC rival.
Big time.
Yeah.
Do you miss the Titans?
I don't miss the Titans, no, but they're going to be... well, they don't have much of a defense still, so they're going to just be trying to score 40 points a game. They're trying to outshoot the Chiefs. But, I mean, they have A.J. Brown and Julio Jones on the field at the same time, and then Derrick Henry in the backfield toting the rock 25 times a game. That's going to be a tough stop for any team. Do they pass the ball enough to keep Julio Jones and A.J. Brown satisfied is really the big question. You know, they get Derrick Henry involved at 20 to 30, even 40 touches a game sometimes. So we might not see great statistical, but that's going to be a hard team to game plan for. Talk about the perfect embodiment of the run and gun style offense. They have it. I think a lot of people will say Ryan Tannehill is not a good enough quarterback to handle it, but that's just simply not true. I pulled up a couple just cursory stats for him since he's joined the Titans. Since 2019, so he's had 2 full seasons with the Titans. He's had passer ratings 117.5 and 106.5 with touchdown to interception ratios of 22.6 and 22 over 6 and 33 over 7 respectively. So that's dangerous. Even if they don't have a game-changing quarterback, Ryan Tannehill's quietly one of the more effective and intelligent quarterbacks in the game. So with this trade, they've firmly put themselves in the hunt to beat Kansas City and compete for the Super Bowl against whoever the NFC competition is going to be. And it definitely makes the road for the Bills a lot more difficult when you have what looks like it's going to be a juggernaut offensive unit in the same conference. And I think we play them again this year. We usually play them in the regular season once too, so hopefully we'll be able to get some tape and get a little regular season game in with them before we'll probably inevitably have to play them in the divisional or wild card round. You guys have any thoughts about Julio Jones, Zach? Did you want to see him in the Bills?
Can't see it. I can't say I do, honestly. Once again, I don't pay a ton of attention to what goes on in the off season. Once regular season starts rolling, it's all Bills to me. I didn't even know that the thought was out there that he could potentially end up on the Bills, but no, I just saw the news. I think an hour or two ago. I don't believe it's official until tomorrow. Correct?
Oh, I'm not sure. I know that they released the terms of the trade. It's the second and fourth. I was just looking at Bleacher Report. I didn't do it. Just did it right before we came on to record, so I didn't do a full reading of the article. But they were waiting on the June 1st deadline because that spares the Titans a lot of dead cap.
I see. And
that pushes a lot more of the contract onto the Titans. They would have had 23.07 in dead cap. The Falcons would have, but now they have instead just his, I think 15.7. Just a reminder of his signing bonus they haven't paid out, which saves them a good chunk of money. And but which probably goes into, I thought he was going to go for a first round pick. They only got a second and fourth, which is a great value for, even at age 32, coming off an injury season, he's still one of the best in the game. Top 5, at least top 10. I think a lot of people want him to come to the Bills, which everybody always does when there's a hot name. We've had this with J.J. Watt.
Sure.
We're still talking about it with Ertz. And then anytime a big name comes out in the offseason, everyone wants to talk about it. And it's been a sexy trade, not a particularly savvy or wise trade for the Bills because
right.
Even a second and fourth, but you're taking on that hefty salary cap hit I think it's Greg Thompson of Cover One really broke it down. We were talking about it, and I think it was 15 this year, 11 the next 2 years, and then you'll be looking at a potential opt-out with dead cap hits of somewhere around $4 million each year after that. So you're really paying down the road and undermining your ability to continue to bring in talent, particularly with Josh Allen's inevitable contract about to hit in 2023, 2024, probably 30 to 40 million per year. So you're paying out for a wide receiver that's either he's off the team or he's playing at age 35. And it's just not a position the Bills need to upgrade regardless. We have Gabriel Davis and Emmanuel Sanders, who are both excellent wide receiver twos that are going to battle it out in camp. And Beasley, as much as I'm a little concerned about him with his stress-fractured leg last season, I think he'll be looking good to have another great season for them. And Isaiah McKenzie, too. Great depth option. And I'm glad to see that we didn't have leverage our future for him. Though it would have been, I can't deny people, it would have been fun to see him in the Bills uniform, of course. That's Stephon Diggs and Julio Jones. Just the amount of passing success that they would have would have been incredible. But
yeah,
really what I'm more concerned about is the interior defensive line. We have a lot of question marks along the defensive line, particularly on the interior. Star Lotulelei still hasn't showed up to camp, which, not to overstate or understate it, is simply a concern. He hasn't been into the facility in about 18 months. He opted out last year for COVID.
Oh, yeah.
So he released, I don't want to overstate either, he released a workout video and looked great, looked lean, looked really lean, explosive, and quick. But you ideally, after all that time spent away from the team, you want him to opt into the off-season, the off-season training activities. Even though they're optional, they're voluntary. You want to see him there, particularly because you haven't seen him in the facility in so long. You want to get him on the scale. You want to, get him with team physicians and see how his body's held up, what sort of football conditioning he's in. I'm sure he's looked great and he's been working out, but that time away for anybody at that high level is a problem. And defensive tackle is a huge question mark. Vernon Butler, I've gone back and watched several games of his. Apparently the team sees more in him than I do because he just looks awful every time he's on the field. I don't know why he was kept rather than cut. I can't put my mind in that of Brandon Beane of why he wanted to keep him, but it looks like he's going to be the front runner for the one tech defensive tackle opposite of Ed Oliver, and he was a turnstile last year. Harrison Phillips, he's just struggled with injuries, struggled finding playing time, and he's a big question mark to even make the roster this year. So who are we going to put in at one tech? Ideally, it's Star Lotulelei, right? He's been our one tech starting defensive tackle for the past 3 years. He's been solid, albeit unextraordinary, but solid. That's just a hefty space eater. A year off, has he been able to maintain that weight to take on those double teams? He looks explosive, he looks quick, but that's just a 10-second workout video. We have no idea what he's bringing to the football field this season.
Got to invite him to your barbecue. Beef him up a little bit.
Yeah, I guess, we should have said that. Star Lotulelei is playing the Cookout.
Who needs it,
He needs to gain another 30 pounds. Get him all the brisket, guys. Come on.
Get him the brisket.
But I've been doing I'm working on an article. I'm trying to analyze Justin Zimmer. I've gone back to watch 2 game tapes now. I'm going to do a third, and then I'll start doing my analysis on Justin Zimmer. We've done a podcast on him, Fred and I. An exciting prospect. I think he's still in the prospect label, even though he's a 4 or 5 year NFL veteran. He really got his first significant playing time last season, where he's been bouncing around between practice squad and regular season contributor. He got a significant portion of snaps last season, not a whole lot, but particularly in the Miami game, he looked very good. And they rotated in between the 3 tech and the 1 tech. Very versatile, very strong. I'm very excited to see him in the preseason. I think from the 2 games I watched, I think he showed a lot of promise. A little sloppiness, particularly early in games, trying to adjust to new responsibilities, particularly at the 1 tech role, where he's not trying to get past the defensive tackle right away. He's trying to stand up his guy. He's trying to take on double teams. But as games went on, you saw him really take on and learn quickly the roles. So my hot take, my big push, let's give Justin Zimmer some more playing time. I think he could really slot in despite maybe not having that ideal size for the one-tech role. He's about 305, 6'2", but I think he's easily the strongest man on the field whenever he plays. Easily the strongest man on the field whenever he plays. And he can take on any guard, center, or tackle, and I'll muscle him. And he just needs to develop a little bit more savvy with his defensive tackle moves. But that's what I'd like to see. I think by week 3, I think we're going to have you have the rookies as well, right? You have Carlos Basham and Gregory Rousseau, who can both jump inside and give significant reps on the interior. But my hot take, I think we'll probably see A.J. Epineza starting at the left end. Jerry Hughes is going to have his last hurrah on the right end. And I think we'll see a lot of Justin Zimmer and then Ed Oliver rotating in with Harrison Phillips going into about week 3. And I think that's going to be the best rotation for the Bills. But it's just a lot of concern, right? It's a lot of concern, a lot of worry because we just don't know what we have. We have a lot of question marks along the defensive line. Do you have any thoughts on that, Jackson?
No, I honestly can't say I do. Sorry, pal. My dog ate my homework. I'm scrolling through Twitter right now. I'm trying to get ready for we got NBA playoffs going on right now. NHL playoffs.
Oh shit!
I got some other interests brewing.
The New York Knicks did pretty solid for the first time in like 30 years. That was kind of fun. They got to end up getting beat by the Hawks. I think they lost the series 4-1 or 4-2, but it was nice to see.
It's got to be tough to be a Knicks fan.
Yeah.
At least they were back in the race. When was the last time they made the playoffs? It feels like it's been my whole lifetime I haven't made the playoffs.
I'm pretty wishy-washy when it comes to NBA and even NHL. You know, I don't have time to watch like 100 games a season or whatever it is. So I pay attention when the playoffs come around. Rooting for the Islanders. Trying to stick with the New York teams for hockey. They face off. I think it's Game 6 maybe tomorrow night against Boston Bruins at Long Island. And NBA. Just watching games as they come on. I was thrilled to see the Lakers get beat. LeBron just gave up in that last game. He wasn't even trying. I fucking hate LeBron.
Yeah.
It's always a joy to see him lose. So
yeah, he's like the Yankees of the NBA. He himself is just like that guy. You either love him or you hate him, and if you hate him, you love to see him lose because
he's the Jeff Gordon of
basketball.
Yeah. That's a real breakdown for him. He's always kind of put on the face of the leader and the team guy. I didn't really see. He kind of just walked off the court, I guess, 5 minutes into. Did. Oh, that's rough.
I mean, he's probably more of a human being than I'll ever be, but he just kind of seems like a whiny little kid a little bit.
Yeah.
But also,
he is. He's just become, I don't know, kind of like too Hollywood for his own good. And I hate the Jordan comparisons because, man, Jordan put every ounce of muscle, sweat, tears, energy, whatever you want to say, behind every second that he had the basketball, and he was, he was trash talker. I would consider him to be a team guy, but LeBron just is not. Totally different attitudes when it comes to winning and self-preservation in the sport of basketball. So yeah, I guess I was glad to see the Lakers get knocked out.
Yeah, you'll see that with their comparative successes in the playoffs and the championships. I mean. Absolutely. Michael never lost a championship, right? He won every time that they what do you call it, the NBA championship? They won. They won with him and Pippen.
Yeah. You don't see LeBron hanging out with the Toon Squad. Is all I.
No.
Yes, he is. They're making a movie. They're making the. What? Yeah, they're making the second one with LeBron James. He's the.
What?
You didn't hear about that?
Dude.
That wasn't just an internet myth. It became a thing.
Yeah.
What?
It's a real thing. That was another joke going around. So what's this going to do for the movie production now that he lost and he gave up? They're going to have to write that into the movie script. But
oh yeah, dude.
Yeah. They made Lola Bunny flat chested, so I will not be watching.
I was just there to get off to Lola Bunny, but those a real wrench in my plans.
Well, I didn't say that.
Speaking of getting off to cartoon characters, I think that's enough for us.
No, I want to hear the segue.
So that's all we have for you, Bills Mafia Creeds. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at Bills Blitzkrieg. We will talk a lot less about cartoon bunnies and their bust. And like and subscribe on YouTube. Visit our website at billsblitzkrieg.com. If you provide us with some good material to read on air, we'll make sure to shout you out, just like we did the folks earlier. So,
Yeehaw!
Any concluding thoughts, you guys? No more cartoon talk. We're banned. No more compasta.
No more compasta, no more cartoons.
No, this podcast's getting boring now.
Censorship button. You guys are censored.
Yeah. No, I'm good. I'm good.
I think I'm also good. My concluding thoughts were going to be talks about NHL and NBA, so we covered what little we know about that.
Go Wolves.
Well, thanks for listening, you cretins. Catch us next time. Peace. Go Bills.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
No, you do it first.
Stop.